Hi my loves, good morning. So we're talking again about dark feminine energy and kind of what can happen when you're not activated in your dark feminine, at least not as much as you can be. And this full moon in Capricorn that we just passed through, girl, the dark feminine is here, okay? Hecate is the one pushing me to do all this. Okay, to add this to my course, because it is so necessary. And I know this from experience, okay? If you're new here, welcome. My name is Nikki. I'm an initiated high priestess, witch, psychic medium, and a spiritista. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you stay connected, because I'm going to be coming out with part 2 of this dark feminine transmission. And then I also have something special in the works, a surprise for y'all. That will really help. And then part 3 is actually going to be about how a soft life can ruin your destiny if you don't have dark feminine energy. My personal story. It gets juicy. But anyway, if your dark feminine is not anchored in and it's not well integrated, and she only comes out when you're triggered, your dark feminine becomes reactive instead of directive. And it's basically, if you want to tie it into the mermaid concept and water energy, it's like a tide responding to storms instead of commanding the waves. You know, like you don't have any control over it. It's not directional and intentional. Because she only shows up when you're triggered, not when you're choosing. And that's exactly when predators can smell that opening. And your power shifts from being intentional to defensive. And your field stops guarding your destiny and it starts fighting for basic energetic survival, which is very draining. Okay? I know a lot of people talk about how many women right now are too much on their masculine and that they're in survival mode because of it. But I can tell you from personal experience, the opposite can be true. If you do not have enough inner masculine energy, aka dark feminine energy, then you will be in survival mode. Because you'll feel so vulnerable, because you don't trust yourself to protect yourself, because you don't have boundaries. And there is no judgment here. Okay? I know, I'm telling y'all all this so that you don't have to go through this, what I did, and if you are, you can get through it 10 times as fast. And I know this pattern very intimately. Like I said before, I grew up with a dad, a single father that raised me by himself, who carried an enormous amount of divine masculine energy. If you're familiar with Pablo Mayombe, my dad had a combination of Zarabanda energy and Insasi. Like, the most crystal clear archetypal divine masculine energies with a little bit of Kobeyende as well. Okay, he had so much of it. His structure, his protection, he was very fiery, okay, but he was always there, okay. And without realizing it, because I was 21 and under, I was 21 when he passed, I lived inside of his container instead of building my own, because I never had to. If someone tried to fuck with me, he would take care of them, or get somebody else to knock their kneecaps. I had nothing to worry about. But when he passed at 21, it was like that floor, if you want to call my energy the ocean, and he was my ocean floor, it got dropped out from under me. And because my dad was a divine masculine and a provider and protector, he left a lot of resources behind. Thank God. And I had money, inheritance, luxuries, but I didn't have any boundaries. No container, no capacity, and I was grieving, understandably so. And all of that leaked out because I didn't yet know how to hold myself. And that is why I teach this, because I lived the consequences of not having my own energetic architecture. Okay? Now we're going to get into energy leaks. And energy leaks are the places where your aura bleeds without your consent and without your awareness. So some common leak behaviors are overexplaining, self-abandoning, staying accessible to toxic connections, that is a huge one, absorbing emotions that are not yours and not releasing them. That's why cleansing and protection work are so important, because it's not your responsibility to carry other people's emotions, okay? It's just not. You can support them without absorbing them. Overgiving without being compensated, collapsing instead of communicating. And the way that this can affect you is going to lower your capacity, because you don't have the energy to hold anything. It's going to weaken your magnetism. It's going to distort your intuition. And it's going to make you have an inability to hold your own frequency. And that's exactly what I was dealing with in my early 20s. And every leak to a predator is an invitation. They can smell the blood in the water. Every opening is a doorway. Predators do not need access to your life to destiny swap, even though they usually try to get in very close to you. They only need access to your leaks, okay? Now we're going to get into capacity. So your capacity is the container that protects your destiny. It's your ability to hold energy, pleasure, responsibility, visibility, intimacy, responsibilities, creativity, leadership, self-mastery, all that kind of stuff. And most women do not lack desire. The divine feminine energetically is literally a bottomless pit of desires. Okay? Because that's just how we are. We don't just want one thing. We want the whole buffet. That's normal for us. But we lack the capacity a lot of times. And your field can only hold what your boundaries can protect. And your destiny can only expand as far as your leaks are sealed and locked at that. Okay? And you have a certain level of vulnerability when your capacity is low. And this looks like energetic interference, identity erosion, because you're overgiving, you're losing yourself, timeline entanglement, destiny swapping attempts, and people feeding off of your field or thinking that they are. Okay? And the dark feminine basically says no more shrinking, no more leaking, no more collapsing under pressure, no more undergiving, no more abandoning truth to keep the peace. Women are conditioned to do that, and we have to break that pattern. And your dark feminine is the part of you that refuses to let your softness be exploited or your destiny rerouted. Okay? And I don't know if I said this before, but Hecate is the one behind all this. And Hecate rules over roads. In particular, the crossroads. Okay? She's very, very passionate about the feminine rising and not just following our path, but choosing our path. You know? And not allowing other people, especially people that don't understand us or don't appreciate us or don't mean us well, to choose those paths for us. Okay, and when my father passed, I didn't have the internal masculine to hold my feminine. And naturally, I have a lot of feminine energy. So you can see how that's a problem. And I didn't have the boundaries to protect my softness or my blessings that my dad and my grandfather both worked very hard for. And I didn't have the capacity to hold the soft life that I suddenly inherited. So everything leaked. Money, opportunities, relationships, clarity. And this is why capacity matters, because without it, even your blessings slip through your fingers. Okay, this is just the foundation of my dark feminine body of work. Part 2 will be about how to stop shrinking, how to expand your field, rebuild your baseline, and rise into the version of you who can hold the life that you're actually meant for without predators siphoning your path. Because I think I said this in my earlier destiny swapping videos. Predators don't like working very hard. They don't. That's why they do the shit that they do, right? So, if you do just like whatever amount of inner work that you're already doing in energy management, if you just do like 20 to 30% more for the time being until it gets integrated, that alone will ward away a lot of predators. Because if they see even the slightest stability within you, they're going to go find someone else. Okay? And by you doing this inner work, you are not only helping yourself, you are helping the future feminine generations. Okay? Because you are undoing conditioning that has been encoded in our spiritual and physical DNA, and you're replacing it with sovereignty and empowerment and boundaries and container work. Okay, so this work is very deep and very important. So, sit with this, journal about it if you feel called. I know this full moon was very heavy, and we still are kind of dealing with some residue of it. It was a very good full moon. Like, I'm happy with the personal stuff that I processed during it, but I know for the collective feminine that is having a more difficult time embodying their dark feminine, the Capricorn moon is difficult. Okay, and I am a Capricorn moon. So I can really help y'all with this, because that full moon activated this dark feminine energy, and it's cycling through very quickly. It's coming. And if you have two options, this is what Hecate is saying. Right now, as a feminine, you have two options. You can either intentionally choose to nurture your dark feminine and strengthen your boundaries and cut out the energy leaks and stand up for yourself, or you're going to keep learning the same lesson over and over and over to where your higher self basically forces you to do this work. I don't know about you, but option one seems a lot less painful in the long haul. Okay? So, more is coming on this teaching. Let me know in the comments what you think. And you can also go to sirensnectar.com/join and take the Destiny Diagnostics quiz. And that will tell you if your path is being blocked, siphoned, rerouted, or if it's activating. And basically, it's saying, are you in alignment or not? And if you're not, then what's going on? And then if you want to go much deeper into this work, check out my Destiny Swapping course at sirensnectar.com/destiny. It's coming July 16th. And I have a whole module of dark feminine energetics and inner work and all of that you can do. Okay? Afterpay is available at checkout for my course. And it's a pretty hefty course. Like, this thing, my Destiny Swapping course, has become a force of nature. Okay, I think I started with the outline with 15 modules. We're up to 21 now. So, it's a pretty deep course, but it's completely transformative, and it will work if you do. And again, you can check out the course at sirensnectar.com/destiny, and I'll talk to y'all soon.